All right. Let me give you guys a little bit of a impromptu presentation about what the hell has been going on because I got a bad habit of when I first did this stuff. Okay, it's 2022, June 22. I had to get drop kicked out into the public eye because I got a bad habit. It's like I spent 10 years writing a book. One book. 10 years. It's like, what? And it wasn't even a serious book. It was just, it was somewhat serious, but it was like a novelty type concept. But it never saw the light of day, of course. So I got a problem with, I need other people. I see, but back in those times, the planets were starting to align out of nowhere so fast about this Zodiac case. I was like, didn't just plan to say that, by the way, but Zodiac just started. All of a sudden, this John Park Cox guy just all of a sudden just bam, 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 bam. And I'd dabbled in sleuthing before just for fun because I've never really told you all the story, but probably origins of sleuthing really start with my brother, actually, Jason. Jason started it really kind of, to my mind, probably more subconsciously effective than conscientiously because uh, this this situation with this guy, uh, we grew up with him, but this fella wound up this Todd Cohep guy. And but we knew where he's had the girl, this Kayla Brown, wound up kidnapping her or something with the terrible story, with inside she was inside some kind of container or something. Well, anyways, the guy we grew up with him, he was our neighbor, David Carter, and but anyways, David all of a sudden goes missing. We're like, what the hell? This is so out of character. We knew David wasn't doing all these damn stunts. So, but we didn't know what the hell was going on. And at the time, I didn't know that the police are a big fucking joke. The police were a big fucking joke. They should have solved that case in 5 minutes because the last known sighting of the two, they were going to a sex offender who'd done time before for kidnapping a girl and in Arizona at gunpoint. That's what all you had to do was ask where were they going. Oh, to Todd Cohep's house. Who the hell's Todd Cohep? Google it. Todd Cohep, sex offender. I think Google's mandatory. They got to pull that up. And he'd fucking kidnapped a girl. Done prison time for it. That was no mystery. Why the fuck did she spend 2 months in a box? I'll tell you why she did it. Because you think you're dealing with people with a brain, but you're not. You're dealing with fucking people. Something about these cases, humans and the police especially are fucking worthless on these cases. I don't know why, but anyways, so my brother, where does he come into play on all this? We sat back and we was like, we all knowed he had David's laptop. Okay. He had his Facebook page and he kept writing these weird messages. We all knew. Anybody who knew David knew that wasn't him. We all knew that. But Jason went in there and see, here's what happened. You keep the killer talking. Okay, the police were apparently really dumb. They didn't understand this situation. they wouldn't even get a search warrant for the IP address because they said we'd have to go before a judge to get that. And it was just like, what the fuck is going on here? Why can't you find this? What's going on? So I got to thinking, well, surely the police are competent. We're not dealing with Keystone Cops. So David must have run. I mean, I was thinking, even though I know something's off, but I'm like, the police, but I'm like, the police, they're not that fucking incompetent. And then come to find out. So, anyways, this guy's posting all these messages, and it started hitting the big local news. And then my brother, anyways, everybody said stop and talking to this guy on the Facebook page. And I was looking at the pages, the posts, but suddenly both families of the Brown family and the Carvers, they both said, we're not going to post no more. Nobody's allowed to post no more. No encountering the person. Well, that's, ladies and gentlemen, you keep the killer talking, the criminal talking. You don't have the criminals go off the grid. That's a very dangerous situation. If he goes off the grid and he moves on to his next person, and it's just a memory at that point, it's just going to be a cold case. You got to keep the guy talking. Well, Jason Alvis, so nobody knows these things, apparently. The police, especially, our great police department over here. But Jason's like, all of a sudden, it'd been over a week of radio silence, which is extremely dangerous, like I say. You gotta keep the criminal talking. Radio silence. The case is very shaky, and she's in the box the whole time. We didn't know that. But Jason, all of a sudden, he looks through all the posts, and he starts saying, oh, shit. David's real posts, before all this happened, he'd punctuate. He had ambition to be a writer, a novelist or something like that, a story writer. I knew David personally. He wasn't dumb, but whoever was writing this post was dumb and was writing in sentence fragments and not punctuating and misspellings. And David never misspelled hardly or ever, and always punctuated properly. And Jason just said that. Bam. Well, like I say, it'd been a whole week of radio silence because both families stupidly said, don't talk to the well, I say stupidly. I maybe should use a different word, but that's not how you do it. Whoever's in charge, I don't know who was supposed to be in charge at that moment, but that's in the future if this happens, don't allow that to happen. But there was a week of dangerous silence. Then Jason's message, bam, and then I reinforced what he said. I left a comment, and then another friend of ours left a comment. So this all of a sudden kicks off the killer. Obviously, he goes from a week of radio silence to now everybody's questioning if this is David or not. Well, next thing I know, this fucking guy goes on a damn posting. Remember, over a week of radio silence, I remember that. And he suddenly, Jason's post, all of a sudden prompted this huge fucking, the guy's obviously panicking or something because he started posting all this weird shit. He put up a weird ass music video, all this weird stuff, and just all kind of bizarre stuff. And it's like, what the hell? It's like, and then Jason said, I cracked that goddamn skull open, is what I did. And he started to panic. Well, all of a sudden now, that unleashed another big wave of interest. And suddenly, the case seemed to be back on again, to where everybody starts engaging again, which is what you're supposed to be fucking doing. And so anyways, the Washington Post pick up the story in hindsight and mentioned my brother and said, someone went through all the posts and said, this isn't him. He's not punctuating correctly. He's not spelling right. And kind of, I don't know if they know this. They wrote about the part about how that was the thing that got him to talking again. I don't. But now you know the rest. Like Paul, what's his name? The rest of the story. But that's exactly what happened. Washington Post even mentioned it, but didn't put his name in the paper. Of course, we never get no fucking credit. Why would we on anything? But anyways, it made me fucking sick actually. Seeing these fucking detectives like, oh, these are the people who saw it, and I'm like, you goddamn. When I found out what had happened, all they had to do was Google the fucking person's name and see that it was a sex offender that had kidnapped people before. Oh shit, made me fucking sick. Made me sick. Well, I don't like talking about that particular case, but so anyways, that's the origins of sleuthing, really. And it's like Jason was looking at the Washington Post and look, and I was like, he's like, that's me. I was like, that's exactly what happened. But anyway, so that was really sort of the origins in 2016. That's like 10 years ago now. So that's more or less the origins, but around 2017 or 18-ish or 19-ish, somewhere along in there, I'm like watching a boring ass day. And I wasn't sleuthing. I never thought of, because I still, even though I'd been totally shocked and appalled at how shitty the police were and making that poor girl wait in that box for 2 months when all I had to do was Google the fucking guy's name, shocking, and the story blew up, like in the media, and she was even mentioning like Eminem song, like Kayla Brown's Off the Chain or some shit, because she's chained up and all this horrible shit. But yeah, I credit my brother more or less with, really, if you think about it, he was way bigger effector of the thing than the police, because by 2 months of her sitting in that goddamn box, which was totally unnecessary, they finally fucking went out there and I guess they finally Googled the guy and saw he had been kidnapping people before. Okay, that's why I say, man, these things are silly. When you find out how the answers here, it's fucking silly. It's silly time. They're silly. They're not competent. The police are fucking the dumbest ones of all. They're fucking stupid. I hate to say that. Not all police. Some police. I'll tell you a police department who fucking got their man, and they got him quick. Dallas PD, November 22, 63. Now that's a police department, Jack. Got fucking Oswald. Dallas PD. Okay, Secret Service was the one who should have stopped the windows and all that shit. Okay, I don't fault Dallas PD there. Dallas PD got Oswald's ass. I think that was a good police work. Okay, not all. I don't want to throw all the police under the bus and act like I'm just fuck. It's just all, everybody fucking sucks except me. But I'm like, it's really kind of disturbing if you really look behind the curtain here to what I've seen. Like, but anyways, let's talk. Okay, let's move on with it. So anyways, beyond the origins of my sleuthing, so I started doing these deep dives into these cases, because it was like around the pandemic time, I guess, and all that stuff, which I never let the pandemic stop me. I'd go out every day and have a good time. Shit, 2020 was a great year for me, myself. I mean, you know, it was actually one of the better years in more recent times, but not, I feel bad for everybody else, but I never got sick, or nobody I know was really affected by it too bad, I don't reckon. And shit, we just lived like nothing was wrong, really. I mean, but I know it affected a lot of other people in the country, but thank God it never came our way. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Okay, sleuthing. Okay, so I started. It'd be like these long, boring ass days. Okay, it'd be like, and you gotta kind of. It'd be like a snow day, let's say, where and you kind of got to sit around at the house all day or something. It's like, oh shit, boring old day. So I'd get into it. I was like, what can I really spend like 10 hours looking into? So I'd be looking at these cases, these nutcracker of cases, like, that be like baffling or whatever at first. And they are at first, but what you got to do is you got to look for the key to solving them. Once you find the key, you've solved them. It's as simple as that. But anyways, so I'm dabbling here and there, blah, blah, blah. Really all started with Papa John. Papa John I saw on a podcast where he'd offered this dude who named the company Papa John's. He offered him pizza for life, one a week for life, which at that time it amounted to like $18,000 or $20,000 or something. And I'm like, dude, I'm gonna score them pizzas. I'm gonna find the dude who's owed them pizzas, because it was one of his. The guy who come up with Papa John's and the logo was one of his at Ball State. One of his fellow college mates. He said only clues he could remember is he was from Chicago. He was taking business, but Ball State, it ain't no easy task, because I'm like, okay, Ball State. I looked around the year. I was looking for business majors, but it's like, I can't. He didn't throw out many clues. And so I only looked into that for like a day or two, maybe. But that was really the beginning that I remember, like, looking through it. I was like, let's look through the yearbook and try to see if I could see a guy, maybe look up, see if I could see a business major from Chicago area. But I came to the conclusion that young man probably passed away before Papa John's became a big deal. Because who wouldn't want that on their resume, you know what I mean? And so he probably wound up in a car crash or something, if found out the story, or wound up bopping his head or something and he's got amnesia now or something, I don't know, but that's a mystery that would be cool to figure out. But anyways, that was probably the first case I started sleuthing ever in like 2019. And the pandemic and all that stuff starts, and so I realized by not, in a way, the Papa John situation's like, I'm like, damn, it's kind of difficult to sleuthing, it ain't, not every case is like gonna be. I mean, I didn't even think. Well, I knew the Todd Coolhip situation was easy in hindsight. So but I thought that was just an anomaly. But anyways, so the time Zodiac came around, all of a sudden, this John Parr Cox guy, I found out. Okay, the last known sighting is us here, this Don Falk guy, and long story short, this guy nobody's ever canvassed before, and this this guy who was supposed to be my friend on here, writes this big long diatribe saying, "You're saying you're the only one who's ever went canvassing." Well, guess who told me I was? That was accurate. The guy who in the '90s, the nephew of the handwriting guru Cecil Morel. I've got a problem with his name. I can't remember it hardly. Cecil Morel's nephew, who took over Tashi's old job in the late '90s. Rossetti, I think's his name. Rosalio or something. Well, he told me, I still got the email. He said, "Congratulations on the canvas." When I told him I'm the exclusive one, I'm the only one who's ever been systematic about it. He's the one who told me that. Okay? So he's the guy who inherited Tashi's old job. And he told me he didn't want to be fucked with no more about it. But he was a gentleman. Actually, I did something I usually wouldn't have done because I couldn't get a hold of him, but I emailed his old lady, which is raw unscrupulous, but she was a trooper too. But those people are actually some of the few that I actually would consider, in this whole thing that are, good people. That if I have that big celebration one day, who are invited to the party, definitely those two. Even though, like I said, the man told me basically he's hung up his spurs about it, but he did tell me that. He told me, and I got the emails. I mean, I'm not. He told me, yeah, you are the only fucking. You are. It is true. It's true. And today, who's the only one who's discovered that the Zodiac killer may have went down into the Presidio officer's open mess? Google Zodiac killer case. Did the Zodiac go to the Presidio officer's open mess, which is an open bar in the area? You're not going to find no material about that, even though it's a straight shot from the original crime scene area of Washington and Maple. If you go down there, it's a straight line almost to the Presidio officer's open mess, an open bar. You're not going to find no material because nobody's canvassing except this one. I'm the only one who's goddamn doing it. I said, I'm going to keep at it. I'm not going to stop. Well, this guy, this John Parr Cox dude, he's throwing icebergs of information at me. I'm like, dear God, is that all? He's like, it's so obvious. I'm like, and then the handwriting. I'm like, oh shit, the handwriting looked identical. So I'm like, well, shit, that about does it really. But now I'm thinking, oh shit. The year that the interview happened was 1986. June of 86 through August 86. Well, guess what happened in 86? Robert Graysmith's Zodiac book came out. Does that mean John Parr Cox is not the Zodiac? Hell no, it doesn't mean that. Does that mean he's been absolved? Hell no, it doesn't mean that. It just means, oh shit, I'm thinking, damn, maybe I should have but I've never been totally singularly focused on him because this other guy has sort of been on the periphery. This Joseph Dudziak, who's a gentleman from Vallejo, who's nicknamed Zodiac, and he worked for John Parr Cox. So I was like, damn, what if Dudziak was Zodiac and he was framing John Parr Cox? And then, so I've had really two suspects, even though it looks like I only had one. I've never totally let Joseph Dudziak off the hook. So I've really got two suspects. Dudziak lived in Vallejo, 0.8 miles from the telephone, at Tulamni and whatever that street was, 0.8 miles away, which is weird. And he worked at the Port of Benicia, 8 miles away from the crime scene. So the real Vallejo's Zodiac is nicknamed Zodiac is a man named Joseph Dudziak. Okay, so those are my two suspects. My main man was John Bar Cox until January, because I got to thinking. I was telling everybody, how do I know I got the right guy? And they're like, the handwriting, you can't fake that. And the handwriting is very, very good. But then I saw in January, this handwriting that was just as good in my book. And I'm like, oh shit, who is this person? And I'm like, oh God, who is it? And then I started finding out about the presidio officer's open miss and all these other things. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we got an official third suspect, Harry M. Williamson, chief engineer of Southern Pacific Railroad. He's a player. Hey, look, I'm just as shocked as you are. And you can't just say, oh, this John Parcox just sat in a little room and made everything up. See, he's got addresses and all this other stuff to line up too. But anyways, so it's gonna get complicated. It already has got complicated, but I think I'm switching horses. If this is a horse race, I gotta switch horses, because this Williamson guy is stacking up so much damn evidence against him. And I done got eyewitness, the woman at Lake Berryessa's like, yeah, that's that's pretty much a dead ringer for what I remember. But his face is real weird, because from picture to picture he looks kind of different, But just to go through some of the other evidence, like one of the big things is knowledge of explosives, especially ammonium nitrate fertilizer bombs, which Zodiac talked about. Well, Harry M. Williamson blew up a mountain in Utah with ammonium nitrate fertilizer bags, just like the formula and gravel. It's the same ingredients. Stuff like that I haven't got to yet, but this guy, I just want to let y'all know, I'm going to cap this video off pretty soon. There's a lot of things on this guy, and okay, you got the explosive, what else? But mainly, the reason why I'm so enthusiastic is because of these scrapbooks. There's 5 scrapbooks, and I thought to myself, well, shit, with all this, it should be pretty fast to see if he's Zodiac or not, because all I need is a handwriting guy to look at this stuff and to see if it's legitimate or not, and or this thing called indented writing. Okay, and look at all these things in these scrapbooks, I haven't found. See, I really miss this other gentleman who, within a week or two of my John Parcox discovery in 4 years ago, I had this guy on board, the handwriting guru, saying, get more handwriting, it could be him. Well, I don't have the luxury no more, because everybody bullshits me. Everybody says, yeah, sure, I'll take a look at it. I've had 10 or 20 people. You know what? I just decided, just to hell with it, man. I don't need no more experts, because the Constitution said some truths are self-evident. Well, I'm going to let it go here. We could talk forever, but there's a lot of things going on right now here with this. But basically, we got three 3 suspects now, which really isn't a lot, but we got the dark horse, the underdog, the 1% chances that Joseph Dudziak, which I can't link. Matter of fact, I basically cleared him, I think, but I don't think Dudziak's had shit to do with it. But still, he does live near the payphone. And my God, he's Zodiac. Okay. And he is connected to John Parcox. You got John Parcox, who's da-da-da-da-da. And then you got this Harry and Williamson guy. Don't think for a second I've taken my eye off of none of these guys. None of them. But right now, if it was a horse race, we're going with Seabiscuit. We're going with this other, like, who the hell is this? What the hell is this guy's name again? His name's Harry M. Williamson, and he needs to be looked at, and we're going to look at him. And so far, if I did a proper, oh God, I can't. There's some really amazing things. I was about to say something, but you'll find out. But there's a lot of things going on here. So just stay tuned. I'm going to cap it off because I could keep going and going. All right. See you later.